Hello, my name is Anthony Burokas, and today we're going to be taking a look at the juicedLink Riggy Assist series of external audio mixers. Here in my hand I have the juicedLink Riggy Assist 333. That means it has 3 inputs, 3 pots, and it mixes down 3 channels to 2 because most recorders are still only 2 channels. I'm using it here with a DSLR, and with this I'm improving the quality of the audio that the DSLR records, because the audio preamps in almost all DSLRs and even some handheld recorders are really not that good. When you try to increase the audio level of a handheld microphone, let's just say, you know, an unamplified handheld that there's no battery in or things like that, you really got to crank up the gain. And if you do that in the camera, these circuits are really not made for high quality audio. So you get a lot of hiss, a lot of other noises and things like that. Or if you leave it all the way down and you increase it in post, you can get all sort of electrical noise and thinking sounds, and it's really not that good. The solution really is to amplify it externally with a high quality microphone preamp and then feed a hot signal into the camera and turn the amplification in the camera all the way down as far as it could go. And then you basically end up with a nice, clean, hot audio signal that you can do a lot with in post. Now, why not just use an external recorder? Well, as a friend of mine found out when he did a 45-minute video like this one, the GH2 has no recording limit. So you can record as big as your card is, you can record as long as you want. Well, when he went to digitize both the video from the card and a separate audio recorder, the audio drifted because the oscillator that controls the clock is just ever so slightly different in these two devices. And at this level of gear, there's no way to sync the two or lock the two clocks together. So it'll drift. In his case, 10-15 frames over the course of 45 minutes. And if you don't want to have to keep chopping up your audio to make it match correctly, then recording the audio as part of the video file simplifies everything completely. Because you drop it in, it's one file, you don't have to worry about sync drift at all. Now, with the juicedLink, this is a 333. What that basically means is I have 3 XLR inputs on the front. There's no 1/8 inch inputs, so there's no mono jack inputs. So if you've got a little microphone or a tiny little wireless receiver or something like that, you're going to have to bump it up the microphone jacks to get it in here. I kind of wish there was the option like the Nutric connectors that have the little 1/4 inch, and I could get a 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch adapter, and then I can go tick, tick, tick with 3 different 1/8 inch plugs, but that's not for this one. The juicedLink just uses plain vanilla XLRs on the front, which means, of course, whatever you might need to plug into is going to use, that's sort of like the common denominator, XLR jacks. You got 3 of them on here. Now, how do you get 3 channels of input down the 2 channels in the camera? Well, the way juicedLink does it is you've got left 1 and left 2, and then an individual right channel. For my right channel, I have that coming from the stereo microphone on top of the camera all the time. Then my left 1 and left 2, left 1 also comes from here, so I can get a stereo sound stage for whenever I'm just shooting run and gun or different events that are happening. And then if I need to interview someone, I need to get an on-the-spot interview, and I hold out a microphone, I give them a microphone to hold on to, or a lavalier, or a wireless lav, or something like that. Then I plug that into left 2. I turn down left 1, I turn up left 2, and then I have both my ambient mic from the right, and then on the left channel I have that very close mic to give me crisp, clean, clear, direct audio from the person I'm trying to interview. Now, it doesn't look like there's much control on this mixer. There's 3 pots and then a headphone adjustment. Headphone jack is right here. Really, there actually is a lot more control, but it's all on the bottom, and I'll walk you through that in a moment. On the bottom, you've got mic and line settings for each of the 3 channels. You've got a gain setting, high or low, for each of the 3 channels. You've got a phantom power for each of the 3 channels, or you can turn it off completely. If your camera has automatic gain, you can defeat that here, or if you're getting a ground loop buzz, you can defeat that over here. You have your meter, high or low, and you can adjust individually the 2 channels so that you can match it to your camera. Your left power is on or on, so you can turn the left channel off completely. You can set it to stereo or mono, and then there's also a setting so that if you want to record all 3 channels to just to say the left, you can flip a switch, and then your right channel will be the same audio but 16 dB lower in case you're recording something that has a very dynamic sound. So two other over here to turn the meter off or on. If you don't really need the meter, you can turn it off, save a little bit of power. And then over here is your lithium polymer or alkaline battery settings so that it gives you the low battery warning at the proper time. The reason you want a headphone jack on here is because not all DSLRs offer headphone monitoring. So how are you sure that the audio you're feeding the camera is any good? You have to listen to it, because your wireless microphone might be getting hits and static and things like that. Or your handheld microphone might be getting a lot of wind noise, and it's like, it looks like you're getting great levels, but it could all be wind noise. You don't know unless you hear it. Or you could be getting pops on a lavalier microphone like this one. And if you're getting pops, how do you know it? It looks like a great on the meters, but if you're getting pops, you're only going to be able to hear it and then make corrections while you're shooting. You don't want to have to try and make corrections in post if you can fix it while you're shooting. Now, the other nice thing about this mixer is it has a meter built in for those cameras that don't have meters. This camera, GH2, does have meters on the screen, which is very handy. I can see exactly what the camera thinks the audio level is. If you don't have that, then the external audio mixer this one has meters in it, so that if you've got your mic turned up and you crank your pots up, then when you tap it, you can see that those meters are popping along pretty nicely. That way you can see at a glance how hot everything is. There's also a low battery meter, which just turned on, and a power indicator that lets me know that I have this on. Now this takes a 9-volt battery, and when this battery goes dead, you have to change it. There's no pass-through. This is not a passive mixer. All three of these inputs go directly to the amplifier circuits or the preamp circuits, and without power, that's it. They're dead. So there's no way to pass through this and have this be a passive mixer. I know some people that use passive mixers and they work great, but if you want to crank it louder, you need an amplified, a preamp that can amplify the signal up to a higher level. And that's what this one can do. Now, lastly, a couple things that I felt, could be worked on, that I wish were a little bit different. These are very tiny little pots on here. Unfortunately, my fingers aren't the biggest, but I know guys that have much bigger hands and much bigger fingers than I. Twiddling with these little knobs is going to be kind of tough. The output jack on here with this little L connector is always in the way. I have to push it and adjust it. I kind of wish there was more space between them. I kind of wish the knobs were bigger, but when I spoke to them, there's only so much space on the motherboard to be able to do all this. If you don't need the meters, this is the Riggy Assist. There's a Riggy Micro, which takes that part out, and the whole device is a lot smaller. You could arrange it either behind you or on the side, like I did, so that all my jacks would face out the front, and there's less, visual clutter on here. And then the other thing to be aware of is you've got a 1/4-20 on the bottom and a 1/4-20 that goes into the camera through the whole device. That takes a hex key. Now, it comes with a hex key, and hex keys are around, but if you're in the field and you need to change the battery, like on my GH2, it covers the battery compartment. And because the GH2 is such a small camera, it covers the battery compartment. So I have to literally take off the mic adapter to get to the battery compartment. And if I don't have that hex key, it ain't coming off. There's no finger twiddling on this device, like on the new Tascam. It's got that big knob on there that you could just do with your fingers. This doesn't have that. You have to have that hex key available. I kind of wish there was a way to kind of glue it or snap it into place on the mixer somewhere. That would be handy. But overall, this is a very nice mixer, very compact in terms of the features you're getting for the price. I'm going to give you a sample. I'm going to record with a dynamic microphone. I'm going to record 3 different tests. First test is the dynamic microphone into the camera at the lowest setting, and then I'll amplify it in post. The second test is going to be the dynamic microphone into the camera, amplified in the camera. The third test is going to be the dynamic microphone into the JuicedLink. The JuicedLink is going to amplify it, and it'll go into the camera at the lowest setting. So all the amplification will happen in the JuicedLink on the third test. So with that, let's take a listen to these tests. This is a test of the dynamic microphone with the camera set to minimum and amplified in post. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a test of a dynamic microphone with the camera's audio cranked up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a test of a dynamic microphone amplified outside of the camera using the JuicedLink Riggy series. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's been my look at the JuicedLink series of external audio mixers for DSLRs and external recorders. My name is Anthony Burokas. Thanks for watching.